Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good day everyone. So we are the group 9 and for today's lesson we will be talking about the auscultation of the chest. So here is our topic outline, which begins with the introduction, then followed by assessment and the signs of normal and abnormal chest. So now let us begin. So firstly, what is auscultation? Auscultation are from the Latin verb auscultere, which means to listen. So, technically, auscultation refers to the method or technique in which listening to the internal sounds of the body. This includes the sounds of the heart, the lungs, the belly or abdomen, and the arteries. Now, there are two ways of performing auscultation. The first one is the direct, which means from ears directly to the site where you will be like listening to the internal sounds. Then the indirect auscultation, which means with an aid of a stethoscope. So now let us proceed with the chest auscultation. So chest auscultation, according to Sarkar, involves the listening to these internal sounds to assess the airflow through the trachea and the bronchial tree. So sounds are identified according to the vibrations during inspiration or inhalation and expiration or exhalation, while transmitted to the trachea or bronchi. So there is this various identification of sounds, kung normal ba or abnormal yung ano yung tawag dito? Airflow through the trachea and bronchial tree. So, in chest auscultation, it is usually audible when it is done with an aid of stethoscope. Now, in this next slide, so we have the sites for chest auscultation. So, in this figure, it shows 7 sites for chest auscultation. We have the first one, the first intercostal space, then 2 superior lobe, then followed by the middle lobe and to another inferior lobe, and the last one, the 7th intercostal space. So this will be furtherly discussed in the second part of this video. Let us proceed with the equipments needed for the chest auscultation. We have the stethoscope, gloves, alcohol swabs or disinfecting wipes, and the pen light. So, our primary equipment needed for this chest auscultation or procedure is the stethoscope. So, while the hand gloves and alcohol swabs or disinfecting wipes to maintain cleanliness and prevent the spread of these microbes or microorganisms. Okay, so as I have mentioned, stethoscope is the primary equipment needed for this procedure. So in this next slide, it shows the parts of the stethoscope. So we will be discussing about the bell and the diaphragm since it's the most crucial part of the stethoscope aside from the earpiece and it's the hose, rubber hose. Now, the bell of the stethoscope is generally used to detect high-pitched sounds at the apex of the lungs above the clavicle, while the diaphragm is used to detect the low-pitched sounds in the rest of the chest. Also, diaphragm of the stethoscope is usually used in the abdomen area. Now, let us proceed with the purpose of chest auscultation. So first, the first purpose is to assess lung function so that you can evaluate the overall function of the lungs. Then the second one is to identify potential lung and heart conditions. It is to early detect and to prompt diagnosis and treatment and to improve patient outcomes. Now, the third purpose of this procedure is to monitor existing respiratory conditions. This is to keep or help track the progression of a known lung or heart condition and assess the effectiveness of the treatment. So it is then followed by assessing the heart sounds. So, katulad ng pag-assess ng lung function, it is to examine and detect abnormal rhythms pero sa heart, or like detect murmurs in the heart. So, the last purpose, or the fifth purpose rather, is to have a guide for further diagnostic tests. Now, let us proceed with the documentation, or what are the things to be or what are the things that needs to be documented. So we have the time and date, location of the auscultated area, breathe and heart sounds, kung may abnormal findings ba, like also the comparison to the previous findings if meron ng records yung yung patient or yung client, then the patient position kung saan na-detect yung parang abnormal findings, like there's this for example when you were able to detect a abnormal internal sounds while the patient was like side lying. So the last thing to be documented is the recommendation or interventions. So that's all. Let us now proceed with the second part of this lesson.
Good day everyone, I am Junaisah Abbas, and now we are going to discuss and demonstrate how to auscultate the chest. There are considerations first we need to consider when performing this assessment. First, we need to prepare the environment and the client, because auscultation of the chest requires a quiet area to fully hear and interpret clinical relevance, that is according to SARTAR 2015. Second, we need to ensure the patient's privacy and maintain their dignity at all times, because chest auscultation requires exposing the chest. Lastly, according to Ferns and West 2008, patient's clinical condition and comfort needs to be considered during the examination. Let's now move to the first procedure. So first is introduce ourselves, identify the client, explain the procedure, gain informed consent, provide privacy, and ensure the patient comfort. So for example, magandang umaga po, ako po si Junaisah Abbas. I'm a student nurse po from NSU CHS. Pwede ko po bang malaman yung full name nyo, pati po yung birthday nyo? Okay, so ngayon ma'am or sir, ang gagawin po natin is auscultation ng chest. Ibig sabihin po nun, papakinggan natin yung chest nyo. So, dito po sa procedure na to, mangangailangan na i-expose natin yung chest natin. Pero wag po kayong mag-alala kasi ibibigay naman po natin yung privacy nyo po. Okay lang po ba yun sa inyo? Okay po. So, next is we need to ensure the cleanliness of the stethoscope for local infection prevention. And then next is we need to remove or rearrange the clothing of the patient to expose the necessary area. And then, before putting the stethoscope to the chest of the patient, we need to warm it first to our hands to avoid discomfort to the patient. Use the stepladder approach to listen for breath sounds on the anterior chest. Use the bell of the stethoscope to listen to the supraorbital clavicle and then the diaphragm on the chest. Move in an S shape like in the figure 4A. This stepladder approach allows comparing the one side of the chest to the other and detect any asymmetry. And also, it is in a systematic manner. Listen for one full cycle, one inspiration and expiration at each point on the step ladder. I am going to show you a video clip from YouTube to show how to perform it.
I'm going to listen to your chest. So, can I get you to take deep breaths in and out through your mouth? Start by listening over the apices with the bell. Switch over to the diaphragm. Now move in an S-shaped pattern, so the right is compared to the left and upper compared to lower regions. Listen over the same areas you percussed, the apices, and then 3 to 4 areas down the chest and 2 areas in the axillae. When presenting your findings on auscultation, are the breath sounds present, reduced, or absent? Specifying where the changes occurs. Are they normal vesicular or bronchial? Are there any added sounds such as wheeze, crackles, or rubs? Thank you.
Again, we're going to use the step ladder approach for the posterior chest like in the figure 4B. But do not listen and avoid the scapula and spine as lung sounds cannot be heard through bones. This is a video clip from YouTube that shows how to demonstrate it.
And I'm going to listen to your breathing. So, can you take some deep breaths in and out through your mouth, please? Start by listening over the apices with the bell. Switch over to the diaphragm. Move in an S-shaped pattern so that right is compared to left and upper compared to lower regions. Listen over the same areas you percussed. The apices, 4 to 5 areas down the chest, and 2 areas in the axillae. When presenting your findings on auscultation, are breath sounds present, reduced, or absent? Specify where the changes occur. Are they normal vesicular or bronchial? And are there any added sounds such as wheeze, crackles, or rubs? Remember your anatomy. Do not listen over the spine or over the scapulae.
Next is we're going to ask the client to move their right arm to the side so that the right lateral chest can be assessed like in the figure 4C. Starting from the upper lobe to the middle lobe, finally to the lower lobe at the bottom. Repeat it on the left side. However, on the left side there is only upper lobe and lower lobe. Decontaminate the stethoscope and your hands. Explain the findings to the client and ask if they have any questions. Take note if the breath sounds are present, reduced, or absent. Specify where the changes occur. Are they normal, vesicular, or bronchial? And any other signs such as wheeze or crackles. Broader explanation to this will be discussed in the next video.
I am Hanan C, and I will be discussing the chest wall abnormalities, irregularities, at mga common disorders. Here we have the chest wall abnormalities ay mga structural or functional irregularities that may be inborn or acquired, and these conditions can lead or affect our chest wall components that can affect our breathing, our respiratory, etc. And it also may affect the chest wall bones at mga muscles. And here we have 4 main components. Examples is the barrel chest, the funnel chest, the pigeon chest, and the thoracolumbar kyphoscoliosis. And the barrel chest ay increase sa diameter or the anterior posterior diameter ng chest, and it is called barrel chest kasi may pagka-rounded appearance siya that resembles a barrel, and this condition is may lead or associated with COPD, while the funnel chest ay depression or concave appearance sa lower part ng sternum or ng breastbone, and this condition cause chest pain at shortness of breath, while the pigeon chest or the plectus carnitum ay protrusion ng breastbone or ng sternum at ribs natin, and it has a bowed appearance. Then lastly, the thoracolumbar kyphoscoliosis. The thoracolumbar kyphoscoliosis naman ay aside from the other 3, it has to meet 2 conditions, like it has 2 conditions, like the kyphosis at scoliosis. The kyphosis ay excessive outward curvature ng thoracic spine, while the scoliosis ay lateral curvature ng spine natin. And when these 2 conditions are present together, it is called thoracolumbar kyphoscoliosis. And this condition itself, the thoracolumbar kyphoscoliosis, will lead to many pathological deficiencies, like it may lead to change in posture, respiratory problems or issues, at mga chest pain. And here we have the common disorders. So, ang asbestosis ay isang kondisyon na dulot ng pagkahinga ng asbestos fibers. As time goes by, ang pagkahinga ng asbestos fibers ay maaaring magdulot ng pamamaga or swelling at paglitaw ng mga scar tissue sa lungs. At ito'y nagiging sanhi ng problema sa paghinga at iba pang mga komplikasyon sa respiratory. While ang asthma ay isang kondisyon kung saan ang mga daanan ng hangin sa baga ay nagiging namamaga, nagiging maliit at madaling masira at nagdudulot ito ng pag-ubo, hirap sa paghinga at pagbigil sa airflow. Ang atelectasis naman ay ito ay nangyayari kapag may bahagi ng baga na hindi nag-expand o nag-collapse na maaring dahil sa blockage ng airflow sa mas mababang bahagi ng baga or lungs. At ang bronchiectasis naman ay isang kondisyon kung saan ang mga daanan ng hangin sa baga ay nagiging maluwag at namamaga. Ito ay nagdudulot ng paghina ng paghinga, pananakit sa dibdib at iba pang mga sintomas. Ang chronic obstructive pulmonary disease o ang COPD ay ito ay isang pangkalahatang tawag sa mga karamdaman ng lungs sa nakabilang ang emphysema at chronic bronchitis. Ang mga kondisyong ito ay nagiging sanhi ng pagkasira ng mga baga at pagbawas ng kakayahang magbukas at mag-expand ng mga daanan ng hangin. Ang pleural effusion, ito ay ang pagkolekta ng labis na likido sa pagitan ng mga layer ng pleura o ang malambot na balot na bumabalot sa labas ng baga. Ang pleural effusion ay maaaring magdulot ng hirap sa paghinga, pananakit sa dibdib at iba pang mga sintomas. Ang pneumonia naman, ito ay isang infection sa baga o sa lungs na kadalasang dulot ng bacteria, virus o mga fungi. At ang mga sintomas ng pneumonia ay maaaring mag-iba mula sa mild hanggang sa malubha at maaaring kasama ang lagnat, ubo, hirap sa paghinga at pananakit sa dibdib. Ang pneumothorax naman, ito ay ang pagkakaroon ng hangin sa loob ng espasyo sa pagitan ng mga layer ng pleura na maaaring magdulot ng pagbagsak ng baga or pag-collapse ng lungs. Ang mga sintomas ng pneumothorax ay maaaring kasama ang biglaang pananakit sa dibdib, hirap sa paghinga at pag-ubo. At lastly, ang upper airway obstruction. Ito ay isang kondisyon kung saan ang daanan ng hangin sa itaas na bahagi ng sistema ng respiratory ay nahaharangan or it is blocked na maaaring maging sanhi ng hirap sa paghinga, ng stridor at iba pang mga sintomas depende sa dahilan ng obstruction. Ang mga kondisyong ito sa respiratory ay maaaring magdulot ng iba't ibang sintomas at mga complication. Kaya't mahalaga na agad na magpakonsulta sa isang doktor para sa tamang pagtukoy at paggamot.